Hi everyone, we're doing something totally different today. Today is just about relaxation, but it's relaxation with a purpose. So what we're going to do is just put our bodies into what would be a really good counter posture for the way we live our lives. Because if you think about it, most of our lives are in this kind of movement. So our arms are forward, our upper backs are a little bit rounded, and maybe we're a little bit protruding at the back as well. And we're probably tight here at the front too, because we sit a lot. So if you sit at a computer for work, you're going to be tight here, you're going to be rounded here, and your probably neck is going to be coming forward as well. So it's quite complex, the way we live our lives. There are these sort of illustrations that show us moving from that ape-like shape to coming to standing, upright, erect. And now, because of the way we live our lives in the modern world, we're now going back to that original shape, all curved out at the back. So unhealthy for all of your internal organs, just basically unhealthy. So what these are relaxed, held stretches in a very, very specific way. So we begin by opening up your chest, your rib cage and your inner thighs, and then we move into an upper back bend, and then we move into a deep hip flexor stretch. So they're all counter postures for the way our bodies tend to be nowadays. So have a look around you when you're out and about, or if you're like me, like people watching when you're having a cup of coffee, just look at the shape, the way people hold themselves these days. Very rarely are they in a good anatomical position. So I have a variety of things here in front of me, as you can see. So if you have blocks like I do, and you have a bolster like I do, then they're incredibly useful for what I'm going to be doing now. But if you don't, I've also included a cushion. You could use a cushion instead of the bolster, or you could use pillows, sort of not really soft pillows now, fairly, sort of sturdy ones. And if you didn't have two blocks like I do, then you could have two books of a similar kind of size. I've got the Riverside Shakespeare there and Mary Ty there. But something like that. So I'm going to come into the poses, and we're going to hold them for about 2 minutes. So this is going to be quiet time. I'm going to do it with you, so it can become something we can practice together. So it's going to take just over 10 minutes to do the 3 sets of poses, so maybe about 3 minutes each. And once we get into them, I'll talk you into them. Once you're in them, then just stay there quietly. I usually have music playing when I'm doing it. I could have maybe, sort of a scented candle or something like that as well, or an essential oil as well. It's really soothing, lovely thing to do at the end of the day. So I'll set you up first. So you're going to lie down on your mat or on the floor. The bolster comes behind your back like this. And when you lie down, you want to make sure you've got about 2 finger spaces between the top of your head and the top of the bolster. So don't have your head flush with the top of the bolster, because your head needs to feel totally secure here. So just feel your way into this first, and put your hands on your rib cage and feel what's happening with your rib cage. It's lifted and expanded, which is really helpful for any kind of breath work you would do. And we'll do a little bit of that here when we're here. And then I'm going to have to sit up again now to explain what we do next. So your blocks come into either hand. And then you're going to, when you lie down, settle your back first, then bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet together, let your feet fall out to the sides, or your knees fall out to the sides, and place the blocks under your thighs. So blocks are right under your thighs. Feet are quite far down, so you have a diamond shape with your legs. And then your arms come out at shoulder level with the palms facing up, and your chin is tucked to your chest. And you just let your body relax. There's a wonderful sense of expansion when you do this pose, like you're open. So Just tuck your chin down so your neck isn't feeling in any way stressed. You soften your facial muscles, let them all soften out. And if you soften your facial muscles, you can feel that movement of the relaxation down through your shoulders and your rib cage, down through your belly button, into your inner thighs and down to your feet. We're going to add a little breath work in here. So we're going to inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. And as we do that, you're equalizing the length of your inhales and exhales, which it feels lovely with your body. It's a really relaxing thing to do because in our daily lives we generally inhale more than we exhale, so we never really empty our lungs completely. And we tend to breathe into the top of our chest. With this raised rib cage, the lungs have plenty of space to move. So those long, slow inhales and exhales are really, really good. Now just let your body relax. And on about every second exhale, just see, can you relax a little bit more? Can you allow those shoulders to open a bit wider? Can you allow your legs to become heavier on your blocks? Come back to your face, relax your facial muscles. You can stop counting your breath now and just let your breath come back to normal. So normal breathing. If this feels exactly right for you in this elongated version, just stay exactly as you are. If you feel like you want a slightly deeper opening to your hips, just bring your heels a little closer to your body. Any discomfort on your knees, go back to the original position. If you want to open your hips a little wider, you can bring them a little closer. So do this in little gradual movements, not huge, big movement. And just feel how different that is. So we're opening your hips at different angles here. And maybe, if you want a little more, just bring your heels a little bit further, close to your body. Making sure that you relax, that the blocks or the books are still supporting you. And then slowly just bring your feet back down to their original position. We're going to do the same with your shoulders. So this is a way of checking shoulder mobility. So this movement is known in physical therapy circles as the painful arc. This shouldn't cause any pain. Just go see, just make sure there's nothing around you that's going to get in your way. So you're going to gradually take your arms up a little bit higher. So they're coming up maybe at a slight, maybe 45 degrees, maybe even a little bit more. And then gradually a little bit more. And then gradually you're all the way to the top. So I want you to experience your rib cage coming with you, your shoulder blades coming with you. And then slowly you're going to release and take your arms all the way back to the original position and let your hands relax. We'll just hold this for a couple of more breaths. So if you're doing this at home, I'm only going to hold this now for about 3 minutes. You can do it for much longer. It feels really good. It feels so liberating and therapeutic. Just something about this that is extraordinarily, gives you an extraordinary sense of well-being. So I'm going to come out of it very gently. So place your feet on the mat. Feet are hip width apart, your knees are bent. You're going to place your blocks to one side, press your elbows into your mat or your rug, then palms into your mat. So gently lift yourself up. And then we've just 2 more of these. The next one then is the concentration is on your upper back, on your lumbar spine. So for most of us, we tend to be a little roundy there, like kyphotic, and also a little rigid in our upper backs. We tend to be too mobile down here. So the block comes to the very back of your mat. This time my legs are long. When I lie down, then so get this one right, my armpit is just above the level of the bolster and my palms are facing up. The block is at the back of my mat and the back of my head is supported. My other arm comes out at shoulder level. Your hands are relaxed. You tuck your chin down to your chest, so no stress on your neck. And you just let your body relax. So it's just, again, this lovely sense of freedom in this opening. So you're stretched right across your chest. Your rib cage is lifted up. So you're stretching your intercostal muscles. They're the muscles in between your rib cage, which we don't really do enough of because they facilitate breathing. They're really important in terms of the mobility of your rib cage. If we forget that our rib cage actually is capable of movement. And then again, this relaxation. So soft, soft, soft faces. So one of the ways of triggering facial muscle release is just a little smile. It doesn't have to be a great big grin or anything like that, just a gentle smile. And you'll find that those little frown marks between your eyebrows, all of that softens out your jawline as well. And I think the good thing, there's one more of these movements I'm going to do with you. The good thing about these is that they make you feel good, which is always important. So if you find yourself, not able to really relax here, either bring your focus to your breath, so think about breathing in and breathing out, or now that you have your eyes closed, and this is all done with eyes closed, see, can you visualize a color? So normally in yoga, the one we practice most and that we use in meditation is the color violet. Not a strong purple, but a violet color. And if you really let go, you can find it. And it's not still, it's kind of pulsating, growing stronger and stronger and then moving away again, so it's not a constant. And as I say, if you're at home, you can hold on to this one a little bit longer. They're very simple moves, but very effective. To come out of this pose, press your elbows into your bolster or your pillow. Bring your palms to your mat to lift your body up. And we're going to slide the bolster out. So bolster or pillow. For the last one, this one is trickier and maybe a little more challenging, particularly if you've got a lower back issue. So if you've got a lower back issue, I have 2 versions of this, so be really careful with it. What we're going to stretch here now is these hip flexors, your psoas and your iliacus muscles, which are the ones that lift your leg when you're walking. You're going to lie down this time. You're going to bend your knees and lift your hips. And then the bolster comes under your lower back. So not right down under your hips, but under your lower back. So that roundy bit in your lower back, your lumbar spine basically. You're going to tuck your chin to your chest. Your knees are bent. So This is the modified version of it. It's a back bend. It's not a hip flexor stretch, which is what we're really looking for in this pose. So my chin is tucked to my chest, my elbows are on the mat, and my hands are on my tummy. And just rest here for a breath or two, just to get your back used to being in a curved position, an exaggerated curved position. And then very gingerly stretch your legs out. If you have any discomfort in your back, just come back to where we were at the beginning. But if what you're feeling is this intense stretch to the front of your body, that is exactly what the pose is looking for. So the muscles that you're working on here tend to be very tight, short and tight. So they're the psoas muscles, which begin from your lumbar spine. Actually, they begin higher up on T12, the last of your thoracic vertebra, and they come all the way down your body internally from the back to the front. They move inside the two bones of your pelvis that you can feel sticking up. They move inside your pelvis and they attach onto your inner thigh, the upper part of your inner thigh. That's the psoas part at the top, and then the iliacus comes from your pelvis itself. So you're just allowing this to happen. So my feet are long, they're a little bit wider than my mat, and they're falling out to the sides. And when you're here with your hands on your tummy, you can feel your tummy rise and fall as you breathe. And that's your diaphragm doing its job. So it's your diaphragm, which is your main muscle of respiration, which is like a big bellows in the middle of your rib cage. And it contracts and expands to contract and expand like moving up and moving down, like a bellows, to expand your lungs and then contract them. But it does something also really important, and that is it massages the organs in the lower part of your body. So your large and small intestine primarily. So they're really important for that function. So they're good for your metabolism, good for your digestion. So again, come back to your face. Can you relax a little more? Is there anything you can do? Any focus? Maybe, it's midwinter now, so maybe dream of sunshine, a warm beach, anything that makes you relax. If you breathe a little deeper, you can feel your belly really rise up and fall down. Of course, the air is not going down into your tummy, it's just your diaphragm working as it should work. Now very slowly, coming out of this really slowly, so bend your knees, your feet are on the mat. I have my eyes closed all the time. I just want to block out anything that I don't want to see. If you don't want to hear stuff around you, just play some music. So the reason I'm here now, just with my knees bent, is just to enable or allow my back to come gradually out of that back bend. From here, I'm going to press into my feet, lift my hips up, and slide my bolster out. And there's always a few things to do at the end of that, because they were 3 back bends. I'm going to hug my knees in towards my chest, keep my shoulders on the mat, and keep my lower back on the mat. Place my hands on my knees, and rotate my knees around my hips. And you can feel that lovely massaging of your lower back on your mat. And then I'm just going to, with my knees bent, I'll roll over to my right. I'll place my left palm in the mat. I'll come up to seated, And I'll just do one more thing. So you're sitting up nice and tall. You're going to raise your hands up and you're going to just simply drop your hands down and curve your back, deliberately rounding your back. And that's just to counteract the back bends that we've just done. So my chin is tucked to my chest. I'm deliberately rounding my spine. And then I'm going to slowly lift myself back up. I'm going to swing my legs around. And there I find those 3 moves the most important moves I do in any one day, because they're opening up the whole front of my body as opposed to the way we usually are with it closed down. So if you think of driving, think of work, even looking at your phone, head is forward, chest is rounded. So think of what that does to your breathing, what it does to your internal organs, and we should be up and back like that. So what I did there in those 3 moves were exaggerations, of course, but they're so good for you. If you can learn to relax in those poses and do them whenever you have a chance, you don't need much. You can improvise. But if you were going to buy yourself something, I'd buy a bolster. Fantastically useful thing to have in the house. So there you are. I have a couple of more of these that we'll do, maybe not today, but another day, of that lovely held opening of the areas of our bodies that tend to be tight. So enjoy that particular little sequence. I think it's really helpful, and I hope it makes you feel as good as it makes me feel. So I'll see you on the mat then for more of the same. So a nice slow down pace over the next couple of videos.